What's going on, everybody? This is Iggles Thoughts, your premier podcast for the birds, bets, and the rest of the NFL. My name is Matt Cameron, and this is episode 1 of Iggles Thoughts, and I am still outraged over the results of the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 draft, even after a week has gone by. I have never in my life been more furious with the Philadelphia Eagles. Losses happen, but this year's draft was just flat out stupidity. Now, I was on board with the first round pick. I wasn't one of them guys that were, hey, maybe we should have drafted this guy Jefferson from LSU. Jalen Reagor's not the guy. Why are we drafting Jalen Reagor? I was on board with the pick. And maybe, just maybe, they weren't able to find a trade partner to get in front of the Cowboys to draft CeeDee Lamb. But with so many holes in this team and the need to get younger and the ability to get younger, drafting Jalen Hurts, drafting a quarterback was not the move in the second round. Especially after you paid your current quarterback over $100 million. That move was a waste. It was a waste. It was not a smart football move, and it was not smart for the locker room. And it only created a huge distrust for me in Howie Roseman. It's been building for a while, but this move just put me over the edge when it comes to Howie Roseman. Best case scenario, Jalen Hurts never sees the field and we blew a second round pick. That same second round pick that he saw as so valuable, he refused to use to jump in front of the Cowboys to get in front of CeeDee Lamb. The best case scenario is that we blew a second round pick. We could have used that second round pick for so many things. We could have used it to draft another wide receiver in the second round. Denzel Mims was sitting on the board right in front of us. Denzel Mims was there. We could have used it to draft him. Okay, so maybe they didn't like Denzel Mims. They could have used it to draft a quarterback. Howie, you're telling me that this secondary is complete? Sidney Jones is your answer at cornerback. Jalen Mills is on a 1-year deal. Rodney McLeod is on a 1-year deal. What are we going to do after this year? What are we going to do if they get hurt? You're telling me this secondary is complete? Avonte Maddox is a lockdown guy. He's proven to be good, Avonte Maddox, but he's a lockdown cornerback. How about linebacker? I can't tell you, other than Nigel Bradham, the last time the Eagles had a solid linebacker on this team. Safety. Yeah, we got the guy from Clemson. Okay, great. But maybe there was another elite safety in the second round we could have drafted. Offensive line. Kelsey's getting older. He's hinted at retirement on multiple occasions. And for what seems like the longest time, it seems like they have this huge distrust in Andre Dillard. And now there's rumors they're bringing back Jason Peters. So how about we use that pick for offensive line? We could have drafted a lineman. Howie blew it. He blew it with this pick. What in the world was this front office thinking? Some people are saying that it was Doug's pick, and a very respected guy, Sal Paolantonio, who I respect. He's a good guy. He's a good reporter. He's been putting it out there that this was possibly Doug Peterson's pick. You know what? That idea is absolute garbage. And anybody who thinks that is a Doug hater. Howie is the general manager. He's the GM. He has the ultimate say when it comes to the draft. Don't give me this collaborative baloney, this collective effort. He's the general manager. He has the ultimate say when it comes to the draft. There's been all this talk, they're saving money at the backup quarterback position. Hello, Andy Dalton was just signed to a $3 million deal by the Cowboys. Something we should have done. Jameis Winston, $1 million. Save money at the backup quarterback's position? So you're telling me you're so concerned about the backup quarterback position that you're looking for a cheap way out? All the green Kool-Aid drinkers are saying, oh, well, Matt, the projected contract for Jalen Hurts is going to be a heck of a lot cheaper over a 4 or 5 year span of time. It's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper to have a guy like Jalen Hurts on our roster. Okay, great. Even if it is cheaper, you feel more comfortable with Jalen Hurts behind center in a must-win ball game over Andy Dalton, a guy who has played in this league, has been a starter in this league, who's won ball games in this league? You feel more comfortable with a guy like Jalen Hurts over a guy like Andy Dalton? What if Carson's out 2 or 3 games? You're going to throw Jalen Hurts out cold to the Wolves? You're more comfortable with Jalen Hurts? If you're more comfortable with Jalen Hurts, you are kidding yourself. He's an unproven rookie. It makes me feel like the front office and Howie Roseman have zero plan and zero clue what they are doing. I'm sitting here thinking about last season and how far teams like the Niners and the Saints are ahead of us. Teams like Kansas City, who have such a powerful offense. And this was our chance to close the gap. Doesn't it seem like the Niners always have a plan since they've had John Lynch there and Kyle Shanahan? They are constantly making moves and additions and subtractions to make their team better. Those teams got even better in the draft. Did we get better in the draft? I don't know. It seems like we got one player. I keep reading articles and listening to the radio about all these excuses of why they drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. Everything from coronavirus to how they feel they missed out on Russell Wilson a couple years ago, which that excuse is gold, by the way. You have a quarterback right now. You have a 27-year-old quarterback who was the MVP of the league 2 years ago. You don't need a guy like Russell Wilson right now. Russell Wilson's a great quarterback. We already have one. He's a different style of quarterback. We already have a quarterback. If you weren't so sure about Carson, Eagles, if you weren't so sure about Carson, Howie Roseman, then why did you pay him? Also, are you going to tell me you're unsure about Carson Wentz after he just led a team of Greg Ward and a bunch of other practice squad, no name, nobodies to a division title last year? He finished the complete season last year, didn't he? 16-game regular season with guys we couldn't probably deal for a dozen donuts and a large coffee. The head injury with Jadeveon Clowney was a fluke. It was a cheap shot, a dirty hit. The best excuse yet I've been hearing constantly is that Jalen Hurts is going to be the next Taysom Hill. All the Kool-Aid drinkers are saying this over and over again. And this excuse just drives me bananas. Answer me this. Do you want your starting quarterback being taken off the field during a great drive? We're clicking, we're moving down the field. We're pulling Carson off the field. All the Kool-Aid drinkers are saying, well, maybe he can be used in the red zone. You want your starting quarterback being taken off the field in the red zone for some wildcat play? You want a top 10 quarterback being taken off the field? If this Taysom Hill scenario is true, you're telling me you used a second-round pick on a gadget player, Howie? A gadget player is an added bonus once the roster is complete. And even then, you should probably look to improve your weaker parts of your team. You should aim to fix your roster and then get a bonus. By the way, Taysom Hill was undrafted. Howie keeps telling the media that we're a quarterback factory. Don't buy a word of it. If you are a quarterback factory, then what happened to Clayton Thorson last year? What happened to him? What's going on with Nate Sudfeld? He's been in the league since 2016. Shouldn't he be a starter now if we're such a quarterback factory? If the Eagles are such a quarterback factory, he should be a starter on some other team. Howie Roseman is making this world tour trying to be a salesman and a politician, and he's trying to sell us garbage. It's trash. It's baloney. It is a bunch of BS. Howie keeps saying, we showed him through our actions. We showed Carson through our actions that he is the starting quarterback, and we believe in Carson. You know how you show Carson that you believe in him? You know how you show him through your actions? You surround him with talent and consistent weapons. Jalen Hurts is not going to be a consistent offensive weapon for Carson on the football field. He's trying to take his job. They got a bunch of speed guys late in the draft. Okay, it makes you feel a little bit better. Yeah, great. And I did feel a little bit better about the third day. But you know what? How many of those guys won't even make the team? How many of those guys will be cut in the next 1 or 2 years? Could you hit on those guys? Absolutely. But how likely is it that you hit on a guy from the third day in the draft? Not very likely. That's why it is huge to hit on a guy in the second round. A guy that can make a direct impact on your team. You need to surround your quarterback with talent and offensive weapons that could beat the top teams in the league. Drafting a guy in the second round who's going to be holding a clipboard and a headset is a waste, and it is not helping your starting quarterback. This move makes 0 sense. You know what this tells me? This only can say one thing, that they do not believe in Carson Wentz, and I do not understand why. This sends a mixed message to your team. This divides the locker room, and it does not add more offensive talent that will make your team better. Well, the Eagles have missed on guys in the draft in the past before. We drafted guys like Mac Hollins and Marcus Smith and Josh Huff and Donnell Pumphrey. Why not take a quarterback? Why not take a chance on a quarterback? You know why? Because other players drafted, whether they are offensive or defensive on this team, have a better chance to hit and make a difference on this football team. A positive difference that could earn us wins on this football team. I love this team more than anything in this world, but this draft was absolutely infuriating. It was an absolute train wreck. This has been Eagles Thoughts. Tune in next time for thoughts on the Eagles schedule. Go Birds!